This is the Angle Society Legacy Project. And today we are going to have the interview with Dr. Lennart Lagerstro from Sweden, one of the greatest Scandinavian orthodontists. And Lennart, I want to ask you, how did you come into dentistry?
Very simply, my mother had a cousin who was a pediatric professor at Karolinska, and he advised me to go into dentistry as a nice profession. So I followed his advice.
And then how did you get into orthodontics?
Well, I graduated my undergraduate teaching education in 1961, and after that I spent 3 years in the orthodontic department, where Professor Lundström at the time was the head of department. And there I also met my lifetime mentor and sponsor, Lennart Lagerstro. And he actually advised me that I should apply for postgraduate education and graduate education in the United States. So I applied to several universities, got accepted at University of Illinois, where Professor Brody was the acting head of department. And I spent 2 years there, and I finished in 1966 with my training there and also with my Master of Science degree.
So first you took your orthodontic training in Sweden, in Stockholm.
Yes.
And after that you took 2 years in the States.
Yeah.
And then how did you get involved in the Angle Society of Europe?
Well, by the time when I came back in 1966, I was offered to practice together with Lennart Lagerstro in private practice in Stockholm. And I spent 10 years with him there. And on one occasion, there was a gentleman stepping into the practice and through the door, introducing himself as having the duty to try to go around the European countries and see if they could get interested in establishing an Angle Society of Europe.
So you actually was one of the first members, one of the founding members. Yes. Of the Angle Society, and that was when?
Well, in 1970, there was an informal meeting in Bergen, Norway, together with Ernst Hössel and Johan Canute, and and Professor Hasund, Hasund was the forerunner of fixed appliance therapy at the time in Europe. And they were discussing the possibility of forming a society that eventually would be the Angle Society of Europe. And then in 1971, 20 orthodontists around Europe were selected for the group, and 18 of them came to 1972 to start the first Angle Society of Europe meeting. And we were only 18 of us at the time.
And that was in where was that?
That was in Switzerland, the first meeting.
The first meeting. And the establishing or the creation of the Angle Society, you had some help from the States?
Yes, I mean the pattern of establishing an association like that or a society like that came from the Angle Society in the United States. And one of the more prominent and past presidents there was Dr. Alton Moore from Seattle, University of Washington. And he was invited to come over to be the one who, together with the four of our prominent members, examine ourselves for being qualified as being active members of the new society. And the first meeting was actually done then in 1972. And then the continuation started in 73 and 74.
I remember when I was invited as first-time guest. I was traveling together with you in the train from Kura to Arosa, and you were the president at that time.
Yes, yes.
How do you see that you were elected as the president of the society?
Well, that was a great honor to be selected in this very distinguished group of people. And I took on the task and tried to do the best of what was expected of me. It was a little difficult because the Balkan War came in 91, so I was actually 3 years president in the society.
And how did the membership of the Angle Society influence your professional and personal life?
Well, you know, it was a very intensive living throughout the year, from meeting from one year to another, to prepare cases, to prepare presentations, and communicate with the other members, which was very encouraging. It took a lot of time, a lot of work, but it paid off at the end.
And you were actually headhunted for a position in Ireland.
Yes, that happened when I was, there was a group of administrators from the Trinity College that came over and tried to encourage me to come over and run the postgraduate and undergraduate program there. Mm-hmm. So I actually took up the challenge in 1995 in January, and I spent 2 sessions, 3-year sessions there, and a third part-time session. So I almost spent 10 years of my academic life in Dublin.
Okay. But you were also involved in the creation of the European Board of Orthodontics.
Yes, at the time when I was in Dublin, I was approached by Professor Moss from London, and they had decided in the EOS Council to try to get something similar to the American Board of Orthodontics, to have a European Board of Orthodontics. And Professor Moss turned to 5 of the members in the Angle Society, realizing that we were used to a system of evaluating candidates. So that started, and I was examining for 3 years on the European board, and then you were not allowed to do more. So that's the rule. And at the time, I actually had very great help of Herman Ductelou, okay, who was the secretary. And later on, he wrote a book together with Dr. Moss on the European orthodontic.
And I can see you also took the European board.
Yes, I did. I was the only one of the original examiners that took the board, which was kind of surprising. When I took the board in 2002.
You also became an honorary member of the Angle Society, something that is very few that is getting that position.
Well, Per, you also is a member, honorary member of the society. Of course, we both know that is a very honor position, and you should be proud of yourself to be elected for an honorary membership.
You have been a great inspiration to all of us in the Angle Society over the years. And how do you see the future of the Angle Society?
Ooh, that's very difficult to evaluate. I was a little pessimistic for a while, but I now think that with the growing number of members and members applying for membership, that will be a future task for the younger members to organize that. And I'm pretty convinced that they will be able to bring the European Angle Society forward, and I'm confident in that.
Thank you very much, Lennart, for your interview. It has been a great pleasure. You have contributed so much to the European orthodontics, and we are all owing you a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to do this. Okay, all the best.
Good.